Finally, I'd like to summarize some of the features that contribute to Dave. First, he's pretty easy to control because of this fact I just mentioned, that you can write and draw visual rules in order to tell him what to do. Dave is also permissive in that the user can write and draw whatever she wants. And then, if it happens that what the user has done is something that Dave knows about, then he takes whatever action it is that he thinks is appropriate. Otherwise, he does nothing. Another feature of Dave is that he's non-exclusive. He doesn't mind operating at the same time with other agents. Okay? And so, for instance, there's two other agents that I will show you who can operate at the same time in the same buffer as Dave, and they can also communicate with each other through means of a blackboard. So if Tony will go up here to the top of the screen, we can see that right now there's a list of the agents which are active, which is Dave, whom we know, and another one called Stretch. And so if we go down here then to Stretch's job is to make sure that connecting lines are always connecting their objects even if those objects move. Stretch isn't real sophisticated, but he and Dave are both cooperating. Another agent, which is...
Stretch also use rules?
No, Stretch doesn't. Stretch uses Lisp code. Thank you, Carl. Okay, another agent we have is...
you can think of as I call Speedo, and you can think of him as a graphical speedometer. So if we look in the upper left-hand corner, we have our meter, which happens to measure text graphic manipulations per second, TG mix. And so if Tony will keep on that meter, Tony, you're doing great, Tony, incidentally. Well, what I'll do is just generate some MIPS here, and so we can watch the meter move around. We have to wait for Dave to check things out. And, okay, so I've done some text graphic manipulations. Now we can ask Speedo to give us a plot, and we can see for the 38 seconds that Speedo was turned on, nothing happened for the first 25 because I was talking, and then I made some copies of that thing, and then I did something big over here. All right, so that's what Speedo does, and now the agents all sort of exist together in a little collective, and the way they talk to each other is through the agent's blackboard. And I have shamelessly ripped that term off from AI and then made it kind of visually literal, as is my wont. So Speedo has contributed the actual plot, the last plot he drew, as well as a numeric list of the top 5 speeds. Dave's contribution is this, remember he never did like that. Graphical performance leads to visual pattern, so he put that on his spurious implications list. He also has found one unrecognized graphic that he handled it in the template, and yet he didn't know what it was, and of course there's one bad word. Okay, so finally, the last feature I want to talk about in terms of visual agents is that they're extensible. That is, there are certain things which may be available to the user that Dave doesn't know how to deal with, but that's okay. This sort of relates to the permissive feature that I described earlier. But for instance, if we wanted to, say, have digitized photographs, PHOLUPs, okay, and for instance, here's one. Oh yeah, well, Dave thinks he had to do something there. Okay, so here's a digitized photograph. And this is also a legitimate expression. That's a straight arrow pattern, so Dave should do something with it. Okay? So, in fact, what Dave does is that he says, oh, that's a scanned image, but he can't really do anything further at this point. So he says, hey, it's a scanned image. But later on, when we can do some image processing, why then maybe Dave will get a little smarter. So we have the hooks in there.
Okay.
For, oh yes, we have to let go away. That.
Why do you care how long you felt that way?
I haven't coded Eliza's answer to that, but I will next. Okay, so the conclusion of the extensible point is that visual agents guided by visual grammars could provide a rational framework for controlling a range of multimedia interactions. And it looks like it's almost lunch, and I have one more. So I have my concluding slide. I've been talking about a visual agent for group graphics, and that had 3 parts. I've shown you group graphics, which is simply writing and drawing for a group. And it's possible that that activity can be performed on computers, in which case then the human can have some assistance in the form of visual agents. So that's the end of it. Is it lunch or questions? Is that our choice?
We got time to
No, let's go lunch.